Intro music.
Overview narration.
Doctor!
My name is James.
My name is Joey.
And this is the Brothers Padre.
Oh, Jamesy, a beautiful week in September where everyone in San Diego, California stays inside and enjoys the sun.
Yep.
It was a hot one.
It's going to be a hot one. And next week, everyone's going to stay inside to avoid the weather.
Yeah, it's going to be rainy.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. But James, shall we recap last week in Padres baseball?
Let's recap Padres baseball. Starting on Friday, September 2nd, Padres went into the seventh circle of hell, otherwise known as LA. And we won 7-1, Joseph. Can you believe it? All 7 of our runs came off of home runs. Yu Darvish pitched 7 innings, shutout ball, 9 strikeouts. It was a masterclass in domination. Hold on to that feeling. Because the next game, Sean Manaea started. He pitched 4 1/3 innings, gave up 8 earned runs, and then we brought in Kinnear, who pitched an inning and a quarter and gave up 4 earned runs. And the Padres ended up losing 12-1. And anyways, I'll talk about that after the series. Final game of the series. Mm-hmm. Mike Clevenger did not pitch well. Pitched less than 4 innings, giving up 5 earned runs. And then Adrian Marajón had his worst outing all year.
Yep.
Didn't record a single out and gave up 4 earned runs. And the Padres ended up losing 9-4. And at one point it was 5-4 and looked like we might come back, but then Marajón came in and anyway, so we left LA. We won a single game from them. As to be expected, unfortunately. Heading back to San Diego, where the Padres hadn't scored a run in a couple of games in Petco, and the Diamondbacks sent out some guy with the last name of Nielsen, first career start in the big leagues. 7 innings, struck out 7, and didn't give up a single run. And the Padres ended up losing 5-0. At this point, we were upset.
Not a good time at this point.
No.
3 straight losses, not a good.
Fans were booing the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next game, Tuesday, September 6th, Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks were up 5-0. Merrill Kelly had a perfect game against us until the 4th inning. But then the 4th inning started. The Padres were entering the 27th consecutive inning where we have not scored a run at Petco Park. At this point, all is lost. We're going to be perfect gamed against another Diamondback. But Josh Bell walked. Jake Cronenworth, 2-run home run. Everybody was happy. Ha-Seong Kim, back-to-back home runs, which led to us. And then an inning later, Bell hit a solo home run. We are now behind 5-4. Enter the 9th inning. Probably the most exciting 9th inning the Padres have had this half of the season. Josh Bell walked. Jake Cronenworth hit into a fielder's choice Ha-Seong Kim gets out. There's now 2 outs. Will Myers steps up to the plate, hits a single. Jose Azocar came up and had an 8-pitch at bat. At one point, he was down 2-1, 1-2, and he worked a walk. Bases loaded for Jorge Alfaro, who just came back from the DL list. At this point, the season's already had 3 walk-off career hits for the season. No Padres ever had 4 walk-off hits in a season. Alfaro said, well, I'm going to make it 4. Single up the middle, driving in 2 runs. The Padres win. It was fantastic. Everyone was cheering. It's what the doctor ordered, and it was spectacular. So that was exciting. The Padres finally win and scored runs in Petco Park. The final game of the series. Yu Darvish pitched again, 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, gave up 3 earned runs. But more importantly, Padres scored 6. We ended up winning 6-3. Josh Hader got a clean save. 1-2-3 inning. Thanks to a fantastic play by Azocar. But that was a good game. We defeated the Snakes. We took that series. And the best part is the Brewers lost 2 straight games. We won 2 straight games. So now we're 4 games ahead of the Brewers in the wild card race, plus the tiebreaker. So technically we're 5 games over the Brewers. And that was the week, Joey. We ended up being 3-3. Obviously not what we wanted. We always want the Padres to win more than we lose. But do you have any thoughts about these 2 series?
Yeah, lots of thoughts. Dodger series was tough to watch.
Especially after they hit Drury in the face.
And he left concussion protocol, and he only played Friday. And that's a big deal. Drury's a good player. Drury's been hitting home runs and hit a home run the Friday game. So,
then they hit him in the face. I'm not saying it was intentional.
Yeah.
But I'm also not saying it was intentional.
Yeah, so that's a huge blow. I mean, our lineup is so much better with him in it, and seeing Morahone have a bad outing and us not being competitive and Soto being a slump basically all week, it's been tough. That part's really, really tough. So leaving the Dodgers series, you really, really wanted to see something.
Yes.
You wanted to see something, something more.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
Thankfully, the Diamondback series was much, much better. At least last 2 games where we showed a lot of fight. I really, really appreciated that from people that weren't named Machado and Soto.
Both of them didn't get a single hit in those series, in the Arizona series.
Yeah.
And on Juan Soto's giveaway shirt night, the Diamondbacks, the last game of the series, drilled Juan Soto in the back, hit him in the shoulder blade, and he had to leave the game.
Yep.
Again, I'm not saying it was intentional. But I was also not saying it wasn't intentional.
Jake Cronenworth had a great home series. Josh Bell did a great thing. Will Myers had a great series.
Ha-Seong Kim.
Yu Darvish gave us a quality start. That was great. Joe Musgrove had a kind of a bad start on Tuesday, but didn't really matter because we had a good offensive output. Blake Snell had a great outing, but didn't really matter on Monday. But I think with the Brewers losing and us winning in the last 2 games, being up 3 to 4 games after today on Thursday, we'll either be up by 3 or 4 games, or 4 or 5 if you consider the tiebreaker. That's huge. That means we just have to focus on winning series here on out. And
yes. And we can even lose a couple series and
right.
we're still making the playoffs.
Right. So that's the interesting part. And the Phillies aren't doing that much better either. So yeah, we just had to focus on winning baseball games to get the playoffs, to get in the first round. So yeah, I think it's a good place to start going into our next interesting couple weeks, because we basically yo-yo between like good and bad teams the rest of the schedule. You know, LA, Seattle's probably the toughest back-to-back. Arizona, St. Louis, and then we go to Coors Field, which is, I'll be honest, that's going to be the most chaotic series of the year, because playing in Coors is the worst. Like Dodgers, White Sox, Giants. You know, we just got to focus on winning ball games. You know,
Yes.
we just got to stay above 500, and I think we'll be okay.
I agree.
I really, really want to get 82 wins to be 500 for the first time. When's the last time the Padres are 500 in a full-length season? 2012, 2011? Not even then, right? Probably 2010, right?
My goodness. If there was a child born then, they'd be entering, what, junior high? Or they call it middle school now these days.
Yeah. Yeah, what are your thoughts about the series? The series between the Dodgers and Diamondbacks.
Unfortunately, the Dodgers,
Here's what I found.
I think they're cheating. It's evident by the fact that Manny Machado started yelling at Yu Darvish at one point. Change the signs. I think they're tapping into the pitch comm. That's the only way you can explain a team that their best hitter has a 250 average and they score that many runs. They're cheating. They're clearly cheaters. But we know this about them. We know they're a team full of cheaters and domestic violence perpetrators. So we know this. But and unfortunately, the media covers up for them. So, nothing there. The team that really doesn't scare me yet, but will scare me more in the future, is the Diamondbacks. I think their team, they're attempting to hack current baseball doctrine, because everything is pull hitters, pit for power. All of their young players are guys that are in the fastest percentile in baseball and can hit the ball to all parts of the field.
Yeah.
So I think they're not going to be a huge home run team. They're going to be an annoying small ball game.
Yep.
And those type of teams can be really, really annoying.
Yeah.
Especially if they can keep some of their pitchers. If they can keep Zach Gallen. Isn't he a free agent this year?
I think he's a free agent in a few years.
Yeah. If they can get a good pitching staff around that young offense, they're going to be a very troublesome team.
Yep.
Like I'm happier the fact that we're going to play them less next year because of the new expanded play with all the other teams than I think all the other teams in the West Division, because their team looks like they're going to be irritating for a very long time.
Oh yeah, the whole series when someone's on base, I'm like, gosh darn it. You just knew. It's like, you know, they all steal. This, like, they have a bunch of these, like, and Corbin Carroll, like, I think he is the fastest person in baseball currently. The dude is so fast. It's mind-blowing.
You know what? Their offense, their outfield, there's no such thing as a double without outfield.
No.
Everybody's super, super fast.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's going to be they're going to be an irritant for a very long time.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I wonder too. I mean, the Diamondback series, we played 4 games in Chase Field against them before we close out the year, and that might be a tough series because of that.
We've always, for whatever reason, that ballpark, we just can't. Yep. Only person that could hit there is Will Myers.
Yep.
It's going to be a tough series, and we're probably going to have to face Zach Gallen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing: is like the Diamondbacks. I think I mentioned this before. Is they're probably the most underrated organization in the lower payroll teams, because they always hire well. They always get annoyingly good players. They don't stack them up like other teams, like the Rays. But them hiring Brent Strom from the Astros is like revitalized that whole pitching stuff.
Yeah,
their bullpen still stinks a whole lot.
Oh yeah, the team has holes.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they can patch some of those holes,
right,
they will be a contender. Yeah, because they have all these young players still in the rookie contracts for at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
they're going to be an annoying team for a while. If they can get 2 or 3 good bullpen pieces and another 2 good starters, they are a serious contender.
Yep, I agree. Well, James, loyal listeners of our podcast know what we really, really love, and that's the minutia of baseball rules.
Yes, we're full of it. We're just full of minutia.
People, longtime listeners know, back in the sticky substances era, we talked about the minutia quite a lot. I kind of miss those days. Remember sticky substances?
Yeah.
That was like a big thing last year. Very
big thing. So baseball tomorrow on Friday is going to be voting on some new rules.
Mm-hmm.
And what are those new rules, Joey?
They're going to vote on 3 new rule changes for 2023.
And what could those be? Certainly nothing irritating or controversial.
Nope. The first being the pitch clock, the second being shift restrictions, and the third being larger bases. So let's go from least controversial to most controversial.
Okay.
What is your opinion on making the bases from 14 inches to 18 inches?
Well, we have different opinions on what's the most controversial here. Oh, my goodness. I told you before we recorded, I'm glad they're making the bases bigger because when I sit in the ballpark, I can't see the bases. They're so small, you can't see them. It's so unbelievably, I don't care. I don't care about the bases at all.
Yeah. I need to correct the record. It's going from 15 inches to 18 inches.
See, this is why people don't trust the media anymore.
That makes it even more sadder of an update of a rule. 3 inches goes to 4 inches. Like, oh my gosh.
Hey, everybody lies about 3 inches.
It's true. I want to know, I would love it if on first base, like I always assume when they make this bigger, it's like, if you're not familiar with how bases are, there's a metal post in the middle and there's, a pillow basically. I would like it if the extra inches went to the foul line on the first base side. So how in like when you play junior, like adult beer league softball and there's an extra base in the foul lines, kind of like that.
So you don't run it. Yes,
yeah.
I do know. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So you don't run into the person.
I think that'd be cool. It's not going to happen, but yeah. So now be 18 inches.
I think they should, if they're going to keep complaining about and not whether they're going to enforce or unenforce the catcher blocking the plate rule. Ooh. There should be, if the catcher's in that square and catches the ball before the guy tags the base, the runner's out. So there is no more collision plays.
That'd be fun, not because the little base pops up. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're blocking the plate, and then suddenly a random base appears. Yes, so I would like this if there was 2 home plates. That's what I think I'm learning from our discussion.
Yeah, because if you're gonna neuter the only violent part about baseball, which I'm okay.
Right.
I mean, I ran over a catcher once when I was a kid playing baseball, and I really hurt the catcher. But admittedly, I was 4 years older, about a foot taller, and it was you, and I felt bad.
Yeah, I think there should be a second home plate. That's orange, of course. Just like and then it only you can slide into it if the catcher is blocking the plate. You're allowed to slide into the second home plate.
The catcher should just have his foot on home plate, and if he catches the ball, it's like first base. You're out.
Ooh.
And like if they're gonna do this about the catcher impact thing, and this isn't even we're not even talking about the rules at this point. We're just making up more rules because making the bases bigger means nothing.
Terrence Gore, who is a professional pinch runner, he has 3 World Series rings. He literally gets signed to be a minor leaguer for the whole year, and then he gets called up in postseason. That's literally what is his job. It's a pretty cool job. He's used these new pillows, in his bases rather, in the minor leagues, and he said it makes no difference. So
You can't tell, but I'm making a not surprised face.
yeah, he said, if you still get a bad jump, you're still out. So, Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool one. So now I'm going to make the unenviable decision. I think now we're in a controversial one. It's not really like a step up, but it's like a huge gap. And then we're in two moderately to severe controversial ones.
Yes.
And I'm going to say the second least controversial, second most controversial rule is the pitch clock. Is that fair? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think pitchers would disagree with us, but I think we don't disagree with pitchers. The pitch clock, there will now be a clock that is going to be enforced in between pitches to bring up the speed of play. It's been the minor leagues this whole year, and they're on average seeing a 35-minute decrease in playing time. That's huge. That's a huge, and most pitchers are like, who have played in it, and most batters like, this is totally fine. Like, we're not mad about this whatsoever. This
rule will be overturned in less than 2 years, but continue. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay. So I'm going to read you the fun rules in this. The catcher must be in the catcher's box with 9 seconds left on the timer. Hitter must have both feet set in the batter's box and be alert to the pitcher within 8 seconds. The timer starts when the pitcher has the ball and the catcher and the batter are in the dirt near home plate and play is ready. In between batters, there's a 30-second clock, except for the final out of an inning. So you have 30 seconds to walk up. Walk-up songs have to be 10 seconds long. No more long walk-up songs, James. If you violate the clock, you are charged with an automatic ball. If a catcher violates the clock, also a ball. If a batter violates the clock, he receives an automatic strike. Umpires can also reward balls and strikes if they feel like you're cheating. Pitchers can step off the mound for a pickoff or any other reason. It's a disengagement, they call it. Twice per appearance if there's a runner on base. But if a runner advances during the same play appearances, they steal base, pitcher gets another step offs. So step off resets in the clock to its full time, 20 or 15 seconds on whether a runner is on. If a pitcher steps off a third time or more, the penalty depends on what happens. If the runner is safe, pitchers are charged with a balk. If an out is recorded, likely a successful pickoff, no balk is charged. No balk is charged if a runner advances either. If a defense requests a time, a disengagement is assessed to the pitcher with several exceptions, including mound meetings, an object in the field, injuries, or an appeal. Catcher giving signals does not count as a disengagement as long as the catcher is back by 9 seconds. Pitchers requests for a new baseball within 9 seconds or more do not count as disengagement, but do if they're less than 9 seconds. That rule, we'll talk about this, was definitely because someone took too long in the minor leagues.
Yes.
Someone was like, come on. Mound visits have a 30-second clock starting when the manager coach leaves the dugout. Pretty cool. Teams can newly get an additional mound visit in the 9th inning if it has used up its allotment of mound visits previously. Batters can ask for and get granted time once per play appearance and have to ask for it verbally. This resets the pitch clock. If you ask for time again, then they are charged with a strike. Obviously, if you're injured, it's a little different, but there's contingency around that. And extended inning events, like the playing of God Bless America or anything that stops all action in the ballpark, requires approval from the commissioner's office, and advance notice of the approved events have to go to the MLB Player Association. Yeah. No more long God Bless America without commissioner approval, James.
I think that already has commissioner approval.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about when the pod squad comes out and starts throwing things to kids.
The pitch timer cannot be reviewed on replay. And finally, the umpires have sole discretion to direct the start, stop, or reset of a timer if a clock operator makes a mistake or a special appeal applies, such as a catcher not having enough time to put on equipment or a bona fide medical concern of a player. So that is the lengthy pitch clock ruling that they're going to vote on. The biggest one, of course, being 15 to 20 second clock, depending on if runners are on or on or on base.
Yes.
So
my biggest problem with that
yeah, you got problems.
is the mound visit. 30 seconds to walk from the dugout.
That's my impression of
to the mound.
That's my impression of Tony La Russa trying to get to the mound.
That's what I'm saying. There are some old guys that are managers. You're going to see men huffing and puffing. You're going to see 70-year-olds huffing and puffing and wheezing because what are they going to? They're going to run out there. If they're going to limit mound visits, pitchers should be allowed to wear an earwig, and coaches should be allowed to just fix their pitches in the middle of the pitching. Because if the mound visit rule is really stupid, the limiting amount of pickoffs, yes, it's annoying when somebody throws that many pickoffs. But we're going to see a ton more stolen bases now because you have to work the guy to throw 2 pickoff moves. I mean,
it just stinks because Austin Nola's our catcher. Just admit it.
No, I think every team is going to because now you're going to see after the second pitch, no matter who's on the mound, no matter who's behind the plate, you're going to see guys. I mean, because they can't step off, they're going to be halfway to second with that lead by the time the pitch is thrown.
And let's not forget the extra 3 inches they're getting from that base.
Yeah, I've had more than one knee surgery. I could steal a big league ball game base with that rule.
Here's a question. Let's just say I'm just picking a name out of a hat here. Daniel Vogelbach. I'm just picking him out. For no good reason. I'm saying Daniel Vogelbach. Let's just say he dances he's danced around first base, right? And he gets 2 pickoff attempts. If I'm Buck Showalter, manager of the Mets, don't you then after those 2 pickoff attempts just pinch run Terrence score?
Yeah.
Right? So now the move is, if you're a slower fella, is to just act like you're going to steal, get the 2 pickoff attempts, and just put someone in faster, and they'll just steal third at the same time. Because they'll start a foot away from second base.
Exactly. Because they can't do anything about it. So that means that's the problem with it. This rule will have to lead to more rules. A runner can only advance this far off the plate.
Or they're gonna dish this one. I feel like this is the rule that the MLBPA is like, just cut this one out.
Yeah. Because if Daniel Vogelbach has 10 or more steals next year, because he potentially can now.
Right.
If they decide to try to pick him off twice. The other thing is the whole, we want to save 35 minutes off of the ball game. I'm pretty sure this rule will be over. This whole thing will go away in about 2 years. You want to know why?
Why?
Picture this, Joey. Petco Park, Friday night, sold out. 42,000 cheering San Diego fans. How much beer is sold?
It's true.
Every 30 minutes?
Someone's got to figure out the beer per minute we're losing. Like, it's got to be a lot.
I guarantee you take a half hour away from Budweiser's sales. Remember, Budweiser had FIFA change Brazil's drinking laws.
Right.
We shouldn't be scared of Russia. Right. Budweiser is the biggest problem in this country, in this world.
Do you think that there's going to be like federal laws that'll randomly be like, you can serve beer till the 9th inning now?
That's what it'll have to be like, because usually the beer stops at the 7th inning.
Yeah.
Budweiser's going to be like, hey man, let's have 8:00 beer night. You know, after the 7th inning, all beers are half off. And then when people start dying, leaving the ballparks, not from drunk driving, because they'll just be falling off the side of the ballpark. No, this is so stupid. Like that's no. If you cut into beer sales, you cut into vendors' profits, you cut into big league ball players' pockets, and that's going to go away.
I hadn't considered the beer problem.
You always have to consider the beer problem.
I like the spirit of making ball games faster. There are pitchers in the league that are horrible to watch.
Zach Gallen, we mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, and it's not fun to watch. He's a good pitcher, but he doesn't need to take 45 seconds between every pitch.
I have been to the Lake Elsinore Store to watch a game. They have a pitch clock. I think it's 18 seconds.
Yeah.
The pitcher gets the ball. He has 18 seconds to throw it. And you can see the clock counting down the outfield. And there's one behind home plate. You can see it counting off. And if it beeps ball, that's fine.
Yep.
This whole 8 seconds something whether and I also like the fact that batters have to audibly say time.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Because the whole holding up their hands thing. And also, there's a lot of batters that have with all the little like, I have to get down and kiss the ground, have to, rub the bat a special way, have to make sure all of my gloves fit 9 different ways.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Nomar Garciaparra would strike out if he was every at bat if he was hitting today.
Oh, yeah.
Again, that's my I like those rules, but I don't like the pickoff rules and the mound visit rules. If you're going to limit the time to a mound visit, they should put an earwig in, and also limit the walk-up song. I'm sorry, that's an event. Baseball's supposed to be a show, right? If Trevor Hoffman's Hell's Bells was 10 seconds, we wouldn't get to the second bell.
Yeah, sure.
That's ridiculous.
I think so. Pitchers' walk-ups will be okay, but hitters' walk-up music will be shortened. We'll see. I like it. It might not be as bad as. I mean, I wonder if there's an amended version where it's just the pitch clock and that's it. Right.
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The pitch clock and the thing with the batters, that's again fine. If you're going to limit mound visits to that amount of an extreme, but they only have 30 seconds, can you imagine a pitcher struggling and the pitching coach is like, "Oh my goodness, he's lowering his left shoulder and moving his hip a different way. I have to go tell him that, but my pitcher is from Japan. I have to get a translator out there. Him and the translator have to run out, and he has to tell the translator this. The translator then has to tell the Japanese pitcher this, and before you know it, that little loop, 30 seconds is gone, and now your pitcher isn't fixed."
You know what's going to happen? There's not going to be like 2 on the ready segues on the dugout. Every dugout will have 2 segues at the ready.
Yeah.
Especially Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa will have a full-on rascal.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a rascal scooter now when he goes out and gets thrown out. Just a little wheelchair ramp.
Tony La Russa.
I mean, the problem with Tony La Russa, talk about beer, he would just be hitting everybody. Drunk driving joke.
Woohoo! That'll get the kids going.
All right.
And I think the most controversial, for you and I at least, pitchers would disagree with us, but the final one is restrictions on the shift. They've tested this a little bit in the Atlantic League, but the rules they're proposing is when the pitcher releases a ball, a minimum of 4 players must have both feet completely in front of the outer boundary of the dirt, and 2 fielders have to be entirely on either side of second base. Every team has to designate 2 infielders on each side of second base who may not switch sides during the game, except for the substitution of one of those infielders. The penalty for violation is a ball, and the ball is dead. unless a hitter reaches on a hit, error, or walk, or hits batsman, or otherwise, in which case the play stands. If any other play occurs, like a sacrifice fly or sacrifice bunt, the manager of the hitting team can tell the umpire whether he wants to accept the play. Umpires have the discretion to penalize fielding teams with the ball if the umpire detects players attempting to circumvent the rules. And finally, teams can challenge whether a team complied with the shift. Restrictions on the shift, James. It's going to happen. It's here. Rich Heisen's very happy. He hates the shift. James is breathing inwardly to restrict his anger. It's a psychological technique taught by psychiatrists for people with anger problems, is to breathe heavily and slowly.
I like Rich Eisen.
Yeah.
I think he's an entertaining sports personality.
Sure. I agree.
But in this regard,
he's dead wrong.
He's stupid. Because I have said this in this podcast before. These hitters are getting paid more money in 1 year than I might see in my whole lifetime.
True.
And they can't learn to hit to the opposite field. That's not my fault. And if you have a guy who can hit 400 without the shift, he should learn to hit tall fields. Maybe it's just because I grew up watching Tony Gwynn and watched what a real hitter looks like. And then all these people started hitting to this, making shifts because guys just started being more and more pull hitters. They don't shift Manny Machado because he can hit to all fields. They don't shift, Hassan Kim because he can hit to all fields. We can't shift on the Diamondbacks because they hit to all fields.
Right.
Except for Walker.
Yeah.
But two things. When original baseball started, back in the olden days, the second baseman was allowed to go on either side of second base, and the shortstop was basically a roaming fielder. Mm-hmm. You could put him anywhere you wanted on the field, whether you wanted him in left field as an extra outfielder, shorter as extra infielder. You can do whatever you wanted because they figured, hey, you're a manager. You can decide where you want to put your guys. In football, you can't make a rule. Oh, all of the, everybody that's a lineman have to sit on that side of the football. No, you can't do that. You could put your players wherever you want to put your players you feel like your best chance of winning. There's a strategy involved. That's why managers get paid more money than I'll ever make in my lifetime because they have to figure out strategy. That's why managers have a team because they have to look at scouting reports, all that kind of stuff to figure out where to put their fielders. You're ruining strategy of the game. Yes, I realize people that are only, cursory viewers of baseball doesn't make sense. But when you understand the beauty of this sport, of the multifaceted levels of strategy and hitting and technique, just because certain players can't hit the ball the opposite field is not my fault or anybody else's fault. It's the batter's fault. And it's the team's fault. Maybe hit 10 less home runs and have a 50-point higher batting average. Anyways, what's your thoughts?
I agree. I
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, Ted Williams hit 400, and the modern-day shift was invented because he was a pull hitter.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
Yeah.
Yes, Ted Williams is easily in the top 3 greatest baseball players of all time, and he's definitely one of the best talents who's ever picked up a stick and hit a ball with it, but still, it's doable.
I'm interested to see it if it gets voted on. I'm interested to see it play out. I agree with you that I wish more people had an opposite field approach. I think that I oddly think that MLB wasn't patient enough because I think MLB has thought this was an issue with lower offense, blah, blah, blah. But we just talked about the Diamondbacks, right? none of those Diamondbacks like young lefty Diamondback hitters are thinking about like, I can't wait to pull a ground ball to the right side, right? Like Corbin Carroll, all he does is spray the ball everywhere. Jacob McCarthy, like Dalton Varsho, like those guys like use the entire field, and they're the young crop of players like O'Neal Cruz, Vinny Pascantino over the Royals. Like these are all like, and Julio Rodriguez are all guys that don't seem to be needing to be shifted on, right? And I feel like this is catering towards a certain crop of players in the existing LB player base that hate that their averages is lowering down and they didn't want to adapt.
I agree. It's all the big league. It's all the big contract guys.
Big contract, big contract
tickets.
Lefty hitters, basically.
Yeah, all these guys who people pay money to come see are upset because they're not hitting for average anymore. Well, it's not our fault. And again, we have Juan Soto, who is this type of hitter,
right?
And Juan Soto is a good enough hitter and young enough he can learn to hit to the opposite field. If I was a ball manager, a big league manager, and I wanted to put all of my guys, outfield and infield, to stand in a line, one in front of the other, behind second base, I should be allowed to do that. This is America. It's America's sport.
I agree. I think if you're foolish enough to do that stupid technique, you should do it, right? You should be able to do,
My goal is to be the shortest 10-year big league ball player manager of all time. Like, how is he winning? They've won 30 games in a row. I know. Is he asleep? He's actually asleep.
Yeah. I'm interested to see it play out. I don't know if any of the young players really changed their approach. Really, I don't know.
No, because they're teaching in the minors, especially in the last couple of years.
Right.
It's evident by the players coming up. It's evident by how they're playing Luis Capizano and how they're playing our young guys before we trade them all away. That they can hit to all parts of the field because that's how they're training. Because the shift is such a thing. So it's naturally taking care of itself. To ban the shift is stupid because you should be allowed to play your players wherever you want.
I think if it does pass, we're going to see some wild, like, players running over, like, players being right behind second base, right on the right or left side of second base, and then just taking one or two steps over, right, after the ball is released.
Jake Cronenworth backstepping into the outfield. Yeah.
I think making the shift reviewable is the dumbest thing in the world. Like, umpire now, like, an umpire can notice if there's four people on the left side of the infield, right? It's pretty noticeable, right? And you think an extra step or two is going to make it, like, I mean, it's just like, I understand if this rule is to limit super severe shifts. Okay, I can concede. I don't need Manny Machado basically being a short right fielder. I can concede that point, right? But to make it so that like there's a guy on each team being like, where's the position player? Is he too far over behind second base? Is he on this side? Like, come on, dude. Like,
you're disincentivizing strategy and rewarding pettiness.
Yeah. And like you said, we have a player on our team that will advantage greatly with this. Like, Juan Soto is going to hit 600.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just going to. Right. And
Eric Hosmer might become a good hitter again if they ban the shift.
It's true. It's true. It's a wild statement, but it is true. I can't wait for all the Boston fans to be like, look, Padres fan, he was always good. And yeah, well, we can't put four people on the right side of the infield.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they vote in. We'll see. We don't know. They don't have to approve everything. I am surprised, I'll be honest, that the automated strike zone wasn't a part of it.
That's the part that's really, I was going to bring it up. That's the only rule I care about.
Yeah.
Only other thing that somebody brought up recently I heard was maybe make balls and strikes reviewable.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is the first game of the year where Angel Hernandez is behind the plate, there'll be 1,000 challenges.
Yeah, I'm okay with either. So right now they're testing two things. They're testing a reviewable challenge system and of automated balls and strike zone, or a completely automated strike zone. Completely automated strike zone, pretty self-evident. Computer, it tells you it's ball or strikes. The other system is umpires still calling balls and strikes, but the catcher, the batter, the pitcher can all within 5 seconds immediately call for a review, which then goes into the automated system and immediately says if it's a ball or strike. And you get 3 of those a game. And if you are successful, you keep it. And I like that a lot, right?
I do too.
Because there is some self-policing. I like it that's not the manager doing it. But yeah, I was just surprised this wasn't a part of the rule change. The rule...
Because the umpire union is about as big and scary as Budweiser.
Yes. As they often say.
The umpires probably are a quarter of the Budweiser business, so there you go.
Yes. Yes, that is true. Known drinkers, umpires.
I mean, I've seen some calls. Only explanation is they had a 12-pack of Budweiser before the game started.
But we'll see. Next episode, we'll tell you what they rule on, and then we'll look forward to the rules.
There won't be a rule. They'll suspend it for. Okay, well, let's hit it to negotiations, and there'll have to be a committee. This is still politics.
True, but. I am excited to see more action, and I think the pitch clock generally is a good idea. The large base one, I could care absolutely less. I could care less about the large base rule, and the shift one is going to be interesting because I think it really like the shift makes. Does the shift make the Tampa Bay Rays a worse team? The shift banning,
yes, because they live and die by that shift.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about next week. Predictions for the next 6 games. Actually, 5 games.
5 games. If we have 2 days off, we'll see about that because 3 against Dodgers at home and 2 against the Seattle Mariners in Seattle. Caveat, of course, all of this is that there's a hurricane off the coast of Mexico that is going to be dumping rain on San Diego all weekend.
Petco Park has experienced only 3 rain delays in its history of being open. And we might experience an actual cancellation of a game. And yes, for all of the loyal listeners out there, like, hey, James, you talk a lot of stuff about the East Coast teams and their rain and building roofs, and maybe they should just automatically throw the game. And you know what? I stand by that. If they want to play, if they want to say, hey, Padres, you should just give the Dodgers some games because you didn't build a roof, fine. But that means next year when we play in Cincinnati and it's raining the entire time we're there, we automatically get the wins.
Yeah.
So yes, it's gonna rain because there's a hurricane coming off the coast of Baja California. This isn't the first time we've had a hurricane show up. I don't know.
It won't be a hurricane in San Diego.
No, it won't.
But it'll be a lot of rain.
I saw this report that, because, news people have to make everything so, everything, everywhere, we're all going to die.
Which is true.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Yes.
But maybe not all immediately.
Yeah. Although every story you think so... Oh my God! The Humane Society is running out of money. We're all going to die. Like, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, they said some parts of the county might receive 7 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain.
Yeah, there's a good chance Friday gets rained out.
Yeah.
So it's up to the MLB schedulers to decide if we need to. Because Dodgers come into town again. End of this month, do we play a doubleheader then? Do we play a doubleheader this weekend? Because Saturday is not looking that much better throughout the day. So I think we either play them on Tuesday. Actually, are the Dodgers playing? I don't know the Dodgers schedule. Why would I?
Why would you hurt yourself by looking?
They will. They are playing. They're playing Arizona on Monday. So
In L.A.?
they're playing in Arizona. So I would speculate that if we get a game either on Friday and Saturday, I think only one game's available to play. I don't think they double up Sunday games. They could, I guess. They could double tell it on
They've
Sunday.
done it before, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I would guess that we're going to play a doubleheader in end of this month, because MLB doesn't really like rescheduling games this late in the season, and I think MLB may be like, maybe the Padres will have clinched their playoff spot, and maybe we don't have to reschedule it. But I think the rain's too random. I think LA will prefer to do that. I think the Padres prefer to play a doubleheader later this month.
I would prefer to play a doubleheader later this month.
I think that we'll probably only play 2 games. That's my sub prediction of our prediction.
And the thing is, like,
against the Dodgers weekend.
This might sound weird, but missing 1 or 2 games this weekend
Yep.
and playing doubleheaders will probably help the Padres, especially in our pitching rotation, because we didn't talk about this. Sean Manaea is going to miss his next start because they think he might be suffering from dead arm.
He's definitely suffered from being horrible. That's for sure. Because, boy, oh boy, is he horrible to watch. It's not Luis Camposano. It's Sean Manaea throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs right down the middle.
Yeah, you're not going to get over the fact that people were blaming Luis Camposano, are you?
No.
I agree, but it's just like... It's always funny to see what little things bug you.
Yeah. Camposano's not the pitcher.
No.
He's not being like, right down the middle, buddy. Also, don't throw your highest velocity. Also, have no movement. Right here, buddy. Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mookie Betts? Great. Right here. Come on. Whatever. We all got an axe to grind in this world. We're all going to die eventually before we discuss this. Anyways, my predictions.
Such an uplifting podcast.
I think we're going to play 4 games, and I think we're going to go 2-2. The Mariners are a very good team.
They are a very good team.
And I think I could be, if Drury is back and Soto is Juan Soto that we know, we have a good chance of sweeping the Dodgers. I do believe that. But if we're not, it's going to be a battle. And we have to win one against the Dodgers. The Mariners are a very good team. They do things, and I don't know who's going to pitch against the Mariners series. You know, I worry a little bit if Manaea gets the start against the Mariners. And
I worry about if Manaea gets to start against, the Double-A team from, Nebraska. I just have problems.
I think that we go 2-2.
2-2.
I don't think we have. But listen,
you
if
said
that offense that we just saw the past 2 games is there for this next 2 series. Like we're a completely different team.
I agree.
But still the Dodgers, and it's still the Mariners, and there is some funk in our step right now. There just is. We're still a good team. We can be a great team, but we're just not there. So that's what makes me think that we're 2-2.
So you're saying we're definitely going to lose a game. I agree with that. Depending on how many games we lose this weekend, because we might lose 2. I mean, like lose, like not being played,
right?
Because of the weather.
If we do play, I want to say 3-2. I want to say we take the series, but I don't know. It's going to be tough to play It's going to be tough playing the Dodgers if we're not vibing.
If we play all 5 games, I think we take 2 from the Dodgers and 1 from the Mariners.
Okay.
If we play 4 games, I think 2-2 is fair.
Yep.
It all depends on what happens with, the weather. which I believe it's Al Gore's fault. He invented this whole global warming thing, and
Yeah. It was his hour-long PowerPoint presentation that started it.
hey, you know what? Before Al Gore, nobody knew what this was.
It's true.
And all of a sudden, he started saying things, and now every time you turn on the news, they keep talking about it. So obviously, it's his fault, right?
Yeah, what is that called? When you The Secret? He secreted global warming into the world's existence.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Before Alexander Graham Bell, nobody had a telephone. He invented telephones. Now everybody does. So that's basically what I'm saying. Al Gore invented global warming.
We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Thank you for your continued listening.
You're not even gonna ended on the stupidest thing possible.
I mean, we know our brand well enough.
Okay.
Until next time, go Padres.
Go Padres.